Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents The Corner Bookstore, hosted by Red O'Loughlin. Step into a world where every story inspires. These pages come to life through the voices of authors from around the globe. Written by our global community of TV show hosts and best-selling authors, these works span genres, generations, and geographies, united by the power of storytelling. Discover your next favorite book and meet the minds behind the work. Thursdays, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Howdy y'all, Red O'Loughlin here. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And today, it's amazing. I have the opportunity to interview my boss. It's one of those things that rarely happens in this business. It's happened a couple times before, but I'm truly excited about it. But before I do that, let me just give you a very brief thumbnail about who I am. I'm a researcher. I research the human body at the cellular level. Chemically speaking, I look for cause and effect relationships. I write about it. I speak about it. That's what my primary focus is. When I'm not doing that, I'm helping people get their books written. I've published books for maybe about 50 books, I think, so far. And just about all of the ones for Dr. Jacalyn. We work together to get those done. I also have 3 live streaming TV shows that I do every Thursday on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And this is the first of those 3, the Corner Bookstore. As soon as the show's over today, I'll be hosting another show called The Wise Ones, and then my own show right after that called Talking Heads. So that is who I am, and I want now to get my boss, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the president, the owner of USA Global TV and Radio Network, to join me up here on stage so we can talk about her latest things in the wild world of writing.
Hi, Red. How are you?
Exceptionally well, as always.
I love that about you. Well, thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Well, and I thank you for joining me. I know that you've been super busy. You've been all over the world. You're getting ready to go back over the world again. But the Corner Bookstore, I don't know that I ever asked you why you wrote your first book, and that wasn't that many years ago. You've just been a corporate person forever, and then all of a sudden you decided, incidentally, on the first day of COVID, that, I don't need this corporate job anymore. I need to be out in the real world and make my name and fame and fortune. And then heaven only knew it happened to be the first day of COVID pandemic and everything shut down. But anyway, tell us, why did you want to be an author?
Thanks, Red. I think it really stems from the fact that I left corporate and then I went out on my own, and I had a hobby, which was a television show that was in person that I was paying for, and then a radio show that was out of New York and that I was paying for. And from there, it became a business. And so I think that's what I wanted to write about, that you can actually leave your comfort zone of doing the same thing that you've been doing for so long and go out on your own. And so the book was Behind the Green Screen. And you and I did that together. And it's funny when I look back at that book then compared to today, I think that was, you might know better. I think it was 2022, but I don't know, it could be 2021.
It was a little while back, but you wrote the book and it talked about how do you actually get into the business of live broadcasting. And I remember one of the things you told me was it was expensive to have a producer take care of all that stuff. And so you solved that dilemma super easily by having him train you. You know, how many people would ever think about doing that?
Well, thank you. That's true. I did hire someone to produce content, and then I learned how to do it. And then at the same time, really, as I was on Business Talk Radio out of New York, I had a broadcast engineer named Chris. And so I had more shows there. Started, I had one show, which was Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Stories of Adversity, Hope and Inspiration. And so I had so many shows that he couldn't keep up with them because he was still running the engineering for the radio network. So he trained me on how to take shows over the radio. And so, you know, from when we first started, we were actually running live over the radio, and we're not doing that anymore. Now we're actually on podcast platforms. So it's a different form of media. But yeah, that's how the whole thing started. Let me research and see how to do it. And I'm still doing that today.
And not only are you doing it today, you're doing it in foreign languages.
That's very true. That's very true. We have shows in German and also shows in French. So we're actively looking for people to come and bring other languages onto the platform.
I hope to be able to go out tomorrow morning. I have a potential candidate for having a show in Spanish. So I'm going to follow up with Gail and Hyatt and see if that is a possibility. But I talked to them recently, and we'll see what happens. But if I can't catch it tomorrow, the following Friday, he has a networking meeting here in town live, usually up to 150, 200 people. So it's kind of hard to get right in to see him, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, we're working on Spanish. So.
Fantastic. Thank you. I love to hear that.
Okay, so you started out in the nonfiction business world of writing. Okay, you knew what you were writing back then. You kind of branched into more of a focus on listening. And then you said, you know, one of the things that we really don't have in this world is children learning how to listen. I mean, there's a lot of things, how to keep a checkbook, how to sew, how to cook, a lot of things in our lives we're really not ever taught. It just sort of happens. But even our parents don't teach us how to listen. And so you took it upon yourself to say, hey, let's put this thing out at the level in the world where it really matters. So tell us about that little transition from being a listening mentor, what you had to do to get there, and then why did you decide to branch out into the children's realm?
Well, thanks so much for the question. I believe it all started when growing up, people would always say I was a good listener. And there's certain attributes to being a good listener, and it takes a lot of time and patience and focus. And I really felt like I really wasn't being listened to in many different aspects of my life. So I thought, well, let's find a solution. That's how I am. Like, what is the solution? And so I started looking at elevated listening. And now, of course, it's in the process of being registered as a trademark. But with the elevated listening, there are 4 pillars, which we don't have to go into today. But I thought to myself, working with you, I think it was actually your idea about the children's books, teaching children how to listen so they don't have to undo everything, all the bad behaviors and patterns that we have as adults. So I'm going to give you credit for that, Brett. And that's how I started my foray into writing children's books.
And writing a children's book is totally different than writing a book on broadcasting or listening or dog walking or anything else. It's a different, because you have to get the story down pat that matches the illustrations. And I remember sometimes we would have an illustration and the verbiage, the text didn't match, and we had to go back to the designer, and it's not as easy as people think.
It's very true. And, something that I also recognized when I was with my young relatives, and they have a lot of books, and just watching which books they naturally go towards, I started thinking to myself, I was putting on like a researcher's hat, and I started thinking, when we write these books, are we writing them for the parents, the grandparents, the adults? Are we writing them for the children? Because what I found with the children, and of course it depends on the age, but there are books out there that are just simply pictures. They're small books like this big, and they're cardboard, and they're pictures. And the young kids seem to love that, because then they can look at an animal and say duck or say goose or say whatever it is. And then as the children, and again, I'm using a focus group of 2 who didn't even know they were a focus group at the time, but the other party in the focus group was more drawn to hardback books that were in a rectangular shape. So I've also started wondering, it's not just about the content, but I think it's also about the format and the delivery mechanism of how you're bringing the books. And of course, very popular are bath time books, the books that are in the water just floating around. So I think I haven't actually nailed it yet. I think there's more work to be done there. But again, the whole focus is on teaching children how to listen. And I think also etiquette is an important thing as well. But you have to get the adults to buy into that.
I'm going to branch off slightly from your writing into the shows, because when we're authors, we have to market our books. That's a skill we don't have. You happen to have a skill of being in the broadcasting world, interviewing people, doing a variety of things. And the emblem we have up in the top right-hand corner of our screen is a silver award from YouTube for 100,000 subscribers. Congratulations again on that one. But you also have another YouTube channel that is branded in your name. And so now you're yes. And so the Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck moniker on YouTube is there. And that would also highly, I'm not going to say monetize, because that's one of those problems we all have trying to monetize our books. But it's out there, and I know you're working on it. So you have, I know you do several shows, but you have a brand new show that's just started here recently, in addition to a couple of. So let's talk about your shows. That's the new one, right?
Yeah, that's the new one. So what actually happened was, just for anyone in our audience, we had USA Global TV and Radio YouTube channel. And then I thought to myself, in case YouTube ever tried to take us down, which, believe me, can happen very easily with copyright violations and people pretending to have permission to use your content. And so I started the second YouTube channel under my name, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. And when I was doing some analysis, because every Saturday I look to see what are the top 10 TV show episodes on both channels. And what I found was, they're typically different, although sometimes similar. Maybe the one that's number 1 on one is number 5 on the other, but the audiences are completely different. So on USA Global TV and Radio, it's typically been a very high percentage of males watching, 85% or more. And the United States can be anywhere on the scale of 1 to 10 in terms of the top country watching, can be anywhere from 3 to 10. And so the last week it was Iraq that was number 1, and the US was number 3. And on Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, it had been that there were more females, about 85%, and the top country watching was the United States. And now last week, there are more males watching on that channel than there were before. So I thought to myself, with my namesake, I should be doing a show where I'm reaching out to people, because with all the experience that I have and all of the research that I do, and I do have a master's and a doctorate, I want to be talking to my followers directly and sharing wisdom and experience and giving them the pearls of wisdom from elevated listening, and also realizing that we have choice, that we have control of our emotions, and that we have the ability to say yes or no.
Put the slide back up there again, just so we can.
Yes.
Okay, because you just popped it up there, and by the time I finally got to finish reading, it was gone. So let's finally talk. A heart-to-heart with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor. Okay, this show is when?
So this show I am doing every night. And to be honest with you, it depends when I get back from the gym. So I come back from the gym and then I create the promo for the show. And I'm just as I would be from the gym. You know, I'm wearing, usually I always change after working out. I took a shower yesterday after working out, but I'm wearing my USA Global TV and Radio t-shirt or sweatshirt, and there's no background, and it's just me sitting here in my home just talking to people.
Is this okay? Let's go a little bit further into that. It's not like you and me talking right now. You have a wider audience.
So the audience that I have on Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, I'm talking directly to them. So for example, I'll say today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the power of silence. And then I just get into it. So it's not an interview and it's not a talking heads per se, but it would be more like talking heads than it would be like an interview like we're doing now.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to be on your show, there's a place to register at the USA Global TV and Radio Network.
No, not on this show. So this show is just me, but I do have other shows. For example, I've got Iconic Women, and people are definitely welcome to register there. And the first thing that they'll be asked is to describe which one of the Greek goddesses that they feel they're most in alignment with. So it's kind of a fun show. I had also started that I wanted everyone to wear white because I had earned this award, you probably can't see it, but the Iconic Women Award, 100 global women icons. And so at this particular event, we were all in white. And then I realized it's freezing cold. Everything I own in white is for the summer. So skip that. So that's one of the shows. Another one is A Woman's Prerogative. And I do this every Thursday with Mariska. She's in Australia. For her, it's actually Friday. So that's a fun one. And then I also have Judgment, the Hidden Sin. I just interviewed our friend Hyatt Ives yesterday. And then the week before, I interviewed Dr. David D. Shine. And I do this show every Tuesday with Roland. It's your healthy lifestyle. And I think that they're the only shows that I'm doing. No, I have also this one, Creating a World of Possibilities. So you may remember, Red, when we first started, I was doing 10 shows a day. And at some point, it wasn't practical anymore. And I really am much happier behind the camera because I'm always looking to advance us and take us to new places and get new audiences. And there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Well, I know I started and I came in. Yes, I can interview people, but not necessarily a TV interview. Totally different. You know, if I'm interviewing you for a job or I'm just want to know a little bit about you, that's a different environment than if we're live streaming TV to the world. Anything we do wrong is there, as you say, forever. This is not a podcast. This is live TV. So we have that aspect of it. And some people are camera shy. Some people talk forever. There's just a lot of little nuances that we see over time. So I have a guest and they may not end on time, or they may, everyone is a little different. And we're fortunate sometimes to have repeat customers, and I'm super glad for that. And so that aspect is something that you took me under your wing, and we were doing the shows together. And then all of a sudden you said, yeah, time for you to do it by yourself. And I said, okay, thank you very much. And then kind of, okay, what's going on here? And then you come back, okay, you're doing a good job, but you really need to do, and you gave me some really good critiques, some good criticisms, and okay, fine, I can fix that. I can do that. And so little by little, I was able to learn from your expertise of doing this forever and ever and ever. How many total shows do we have now on USA Global TV and Radio Network?
Right now we have 63 shows, I believe.
Well, no, how many? 107,000, 110,000 episodes.
Oh, on the Silver Creator channel, just around 107,000. You know, it's very interesting when it comes to YouTube, which is a whole different show, but I was really studying about game theory. And I don't know if you know about game theory, but YouTube and the social media platforms, their algorithms, I really believe, are based on game theory. So you think you can have everything figured out, but you can't actually anticipate anything because it's already been anticipated. It's kind of like if we're driving and we see there's a red zone coming up on our GPS, you'll see people getting off the highway because their GPS is telling them. because they've already anticipated. So when you go, then that exit is already backed up. So then maybe you go on the shoulder, maybe there's all different things, but somebody's already thought of it. So it's impossible to think of all the different things. So with the algorithm on YouTube, what I found is very interesting is that the number of subscribers you have can change with volatility in a day, which doesn't make any sense. And I think that the algorithm actually updates itself so many times a month. So I have a notepad, which you can't see, but I track the views multiple times during the day on both channels, and I write them down so that I can let our team know if I have any concerns about anything.
Okay, we're getting ready to go to a station break here, about a commercial break, minute and a half or so. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the retreat you just did and the one you have coming up.
Fantastic. I would be happy to talk about that. Okay, let's go to a break then.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover holy but harmful, the silent sin of judgment, how hidden judgments destroy relationships and damage lives, by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time, only here on USA, Global TVR, and radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
This is Red O'Loughlin. We're on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and my guest today is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Please join me back up here on stage, Dr. Jacalyn.
Hello.
Just wanted to let you know that that picture you had there, you're smiling, you're in the white, and you're holding up the award. I think that picture needs to be circulated a little bit more, because that's a really good picture of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was an interesting event, and I was really honored to receive that award, especially in the media category.
Yeah, you received a lot of recognition and accolades here, just literally in the last year and a half. It's as the station is recognized, you're being recognized. It's just a lot of things going on. But in order, we don't keep ourselves up to speed on everything that's happening. Sometimes you just got to take a break, relax, but at the same time, learn a little bit more. I was fortunate enough to talk to you while you were on retreat recently, and then you decided you're going to have your own. So let's talk about, what did you find out on this retreat, and let's talk about the one you have coming up.
Well, thank you, Red. I was invited to attend this retreat that was being put on by Meditation for Leadership, and I was able to work my schedule so that I could attend. So it was kind of really last minute, and it took place at the Horseshoe Farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, in the U.S., and I really enjoyed myself, and the facilities were outstanding. And what ended up happening was just this crazy thing in life that you could never even plan. But I happened to be going for a walk, and I decided to go up this very steep hill, which I've been avoiding the other times I went for a walk. And this man came out with his two dogs, and we just started talking about really nothing. And I looked at him and I said, "Do you work here?" And he said, "I'm working here all the time." And so we kept walking. And then I looked at him and I said, "You own this place, don't you?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And so we got to walk for, 40 minutes, and then sit down for another 30, just chatting about this retreat, about this property, and how he and his family acquired it, the Turchin family. And so I said to him, "You know what? I think the reason I was brought here was because I was meant to meet you and I was meant to do a retreat. So the next day I met with his son, and then I also met with Brandy in the office, and we talked about what it is I wanted to do. And now this retreat has been planned. It's called the Listening Mentor Wellness Retreat. And the thing that's I think is so interesting is whether a person really wants to take in everything that the property has to offer. Like, for example, they have a sweat lodge. They also are, I don't know what the word is. It's not growing bees, but they have these boxes with bees. What is that called? Beekeeping, I guess. Beekeeping. And they've got pickleball, and they've got this spa, and they've got this silo restaurant. The food's outstanding. So for somebody who just wants to get away, you're in a beautiful environment. It's 90 acres. And of course, there's a lot of walking. There's horses, there are roosters, and there are goats. You can feed them. It's just so much fun. They got cold plunging. I've got the sauna, the steam. So there's something for everyone. And then also there are tours. And then, of course, we're going to be having master classes. So that's when it is. It's June 3rd to the 6th. And I'd love to have people that can just contact me directly at Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com. I feel like the property has presented a very agreeable pricing structure. They've been very cooperative, and I'm looking forward to it.
Where would you fly into North Carolina in order to be nearby this place?
Well, there's different airports. So I wanted to fly into Asheville, I think it is, but all the flights were sold out. And so I ended up flying into Greenville? I think it's Greenville, and I flew back from Asheville, but you could also fly into Charlotte, and you just have to take a car. I think it's a 2-hour ride, but the Asheville is the closest, and I think that was 20 minutes. And I ended up leaving a day early because the northeaster storm was coming, and it was slamming the Jersey Shore, so I had to come back and be responsible. So, but yeah, you could fly into any of those, but Asheville would be the best one.
Okay. The retreat, what did you really learn from it? You were there for almost a week, several days. What did you walk away knowing that you didn't know before you went in?
Well, first of all, the one thing I just want to share, because I thought this was very interesting, is that we were not given anyone's names. And so when we first got there and we were in a room where we were going to be meditating, because it was a meditation focus, we were not told anyone's last names. We went around and said our first name, and the icebreaker was to use an adjective to describe your first name. So I said Jazzy Jacalyn. And so that's all people knew. They didn't know what I do. They don't know what my last name is. And so for most of the retreat, it was like that, unless you volunteered the information. And I thought that was really cool, because you were just getting to know people without a title and without being able to look them up and say, oh, this is what they do. But what I really took away from it was the retreat was very well done. I think this was the 7th year that Meditation for Leadership, led by Lisa Gonzalez, that this was in place. And so each retreat is at a different property. And so what I really took away from this was how important meditation is. And even though I'm a certified meditation facilitator, that I actually don't meditate as much as would be beneficial for me. So it brought me back to my roots of meditation.
I can say the same thing on my side of the equation too, because yes, I know it's good for you. It's good for a lot of things. Just can't quite get into the schedule some days. And anyway, but you're talking about leadership, and you just get kind of surprised. Let's talk about Wharton here for just a second.
Thank you. I would love to talk about Wharton. So I'll just put this on the stage for people to see it. So when I was growing up, I went to Penn. I went to Penn State. I went for my bachelor's degree and also for my master's degree. And I remember my dad, God love him, he would say, you know what, it's wonderful that you went to Penn State, but you could have gone to the University of Pennsylvania. And I paid for my education, so it was too expensive and I couldn't have afforded it. So I happened to see on Instagram, which is amazing. I've actually been doing a number of deals or business because of Instagram. And I don't have a huge presence on Instagram, but I find, and Caroline Hewer just did a show on this earlier today, that you can actually train Instagram and these other social media platforms to show you the content that you want to see. So I don't get very much negative content whatsoever. So this came up about Wharton and this chief strategy officer program. And so I clicked on it, but you had to insert your information to get a brochure. And I didn't feel like doing that. So during the day, it kept popping up and popping up. And the next day it was popping up. I was like, okay, I get it. So I gave my information. I downloaded the brochure, and it was kind of like, the angel devil kind of thing. And I thought, okay, you have a master's, you have a doctorate, you have certification. Do you really need something else? And I thought, yes, I do. And the reason why is because we're a team, we're a family here. And it's my role to continuously give back and provide information. So I thought to myself, this is an opportunity that, first of all, at 62 years of age, if they pick me, I will be shocked. But of course, we just did shows on ageism, so I would hope that that wouldn't be a reason. But of course, you think that. You think that because they ask, what is your birth date? And anyway, I thought to myself, being a woman in media, I don't know how many women there are in media that have created a platform. Let me see what these other people across the world, what they have to say for strategy and how to take this to the next level. So when I met with the person who, somebody who's very wise and very successful, and I said, what does it take to take your business to the next level? He said to me, it takes a lot of money. And I thought about that, but I also thought money is a tool, right? And there's plenty of other tools. Education is a tool. So I thought, I'm going to get the continuous education by going to Wharton. And so it starts in December, and it's a 9-month program.
And when you get done with this program, you're going to be recognized as?
Well, you get a certificate, but you are not a Wharton alumni. So in order to become a Wharton alumni, you have to have 6 credits. So I'm already looking at what the next course is I'm going to be taking. Because once you become a Wharton alumni, you get exposed to a whole different group of people that who knows what value I can bring to them and they can bring to me and to us. So I'll be taking class for the next probably 5 years.
Well, you're talking about it being exposed to a lot of things. A year ago we were talking, and all of a sudden things came up, and now you're over in London, and you had no idea in the world that you were going to Greece, but you were looking at trying to get your shows or TV shows into foreign languages. So you went over and talked to Roland, and then Greece happened, and boom, de boom, de boom. Now all of a sudden, now you're going back to London again. Now you're going back to Greece again. So what's going on internationally in your world?
Well, thank you for asking that. I'm actually a peace ambassador. And so I'm going to London. I was invited about, I want to say 6 months ago, to speak at the Universal Peace Federation. So I'm going to be speaking about listening. And if you think about at the crux of being at peace, because everything that I do is about helping people find inner peace, a peace ambassador facilitates this through many different ways. But of course, listening is huge. That's why there's so much strife, because people don't listen to one another. It's kind of like, let me one up you, let me win this. So I'm going to be speaking there about mastering the power of elevated listening. I'm also going to be doing a live show with Ian Pelham Turner and Helen Ashara for the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show. And then I'm going to be going to an event that's put on by Victoria Beale. So I'll do that. And then I'm going to be going to Greece. We have a team member from Greece. Her name is Dr. Alkistis Agio, and also a dear friend, Deborah Wooten. So I'll be with them and the SIFCA team, the SIFCA community, and I'll be presenting several of my courses. And I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm going to bring myself back for this, Red. I'm actually looking into living in Greece for maybe 3 to 6 months. So you don't know. This will be my scouting trip to see how I feel about it. Hot off the press. No one knows that except for the one person in Greece I told.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, it's a different culture, obviously. I've been to 30 countries in Europe, but Greece is still one of the ones that's kind of high on my list. I just never got there. I had almost made it to Turkey just before I left. I was living in Germany. I had almost got to Turkey, and something happened, and I ended up some other place. But Greece has always been on my list for as far back as I can remember. So I wish you the best in whatever decision happens and whatever. But
Thank
the
you.
little video that you showed just recently had a workbook is now available on Amazon. But you're saying in
Yes.
reality that is available tomorrow. It's a
Yes, let me bring it up. So on Amazon right now, and by the way, I want to say this because I'm really excited about it. This book, Holy But Harmful, is also available at fine bookstores around the world. So if you are someone who is self-published, I recommend that you also look at putting your books on Ingram Spark, because then they get picked up by the various bookstores. So Holy But Harmful, this is available. It has been available. And there's two options here. And there's a story about this, but I'm not going to go into it because it doesn't matter. This book that's more expensive, the paperback, has thicker paper. So I didn't realize when I was making the selections that I picked the most expensive paper. And of course, on this book, believe it or not, I'm only making $4.10. The rest goes to, as they would say, the man. And so what I did was I republished the book with less expensive paper, and you can get that for $9.99. And I think that the publishing cost is $2.54, and then whatever Amazon puts on. So I think this one, maybe I'm getting $5. And then this is the workbook. So this is available right now as a Kindle book and also on an audio book. And this will come out in paperback tomorrow. So look for that on Amazon. It's not actually in the bookstores yet. I will be putting it on there. So this is a nice way to reinstill these exercises so that you can actually learn when you're being judged, how you can react or not react. And then when you're judging others, to be aware of the areas, the pitfalls that we fall into.
What caused you to actually write a workbook?
I think it was your suggestion. I think it was your suggestion. Well, as I tell people, I have 6 mentors at any time, and you're one of them. So, you make suggestions, and I usually follow along with what you said, but it makes sense to have the workbook so that you can go through, because so many times we read something and then it just slips out of our brain. But you know what I found, Red, and I know we're coming to the end of the show, is there's still a number of people who do not think they are judgmental, and they say things, and I just take a breath, and I think to myself, judgment. But then I think, am I judging the judgment? It gets very confusing. But people say things, and I read about this. There's research that if someone says something that's judgmental, that hurts you, that you take in, that could stay with you for up to 20 years.
But also when you actually physically have to write something, and that connection between the paper, the pen, the hand, the arm, and the brain, because now it's just not reading something. You're actually connecting with it stronger than you would otherwise. And so there's a lot of value in having that workbook because all of a sudden you're put in a different world to being able to respond to something. It's like, what do you think about this? Well, how do you feel about this? 2 different types of questions, but it elicits totally different kinds of responses. So, but we're getting toward the end of the show. How do people get in touch with you if they want you to speak somewhere? If you have a book launch coming up, what's going on? How do they get in touch with you if they want to be a TV host on your show? Give us the details.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So you can actually contact me through my websites, which are usaglobaltv.com and drjacalyn.com. I've got other websites as well, but they all fall into usaglobaltv.com. If you would like to be a TV show host, whether you have experience or you don't have experience, I'd love to chat with you, especially if you speak more than the English language. We love to have people speaking English as well, but we do want to be growing the channel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so we need people who are in other parts of the world to be able to do this. If you're interested in having me for your keynote or to run workshops or master classes, please do email me at the same email address, drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. And as we close out the show, we will see a video on the retreat. If you're interested, you can also message me at drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com.
Well, Dr. Jacalyn, thank you so very much. I know you're super busy. 62 shows a week available, and that's way up from the first dozen that I remember getting involved with. So kudos, and and best of luck on making a decision about Greece. It's one of those things that we never even think about. But sometimes living in a foreign country, exposed, that does wonders to us. It really does. So, again, Dr. Jacalyn, thank you so very much, and we will catch you later on. Bye.
Bye.
Red O'Loughlin here, logging off on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. I'll be on literally in about 21 minutes on The Wise Ones here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Take care, y'all. Bye now.
What if one simple skill could change the way you connect with the world? What if listening could open doors to deeper relationships, stronger businesses, and a better you? Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, brings you USA Global TV and Radio, a space where voices are heard, ideas are shared, and global communities thrive. Through the elevated listeners' courses and books, you'll master the power of listening, set boundaries with confidence, and transform conversations into opportunities. Join us. Listen, learn, elevate. Whether you're a leader, a coach, a business owner, or someone seeking stronger connections, your journey starts today. Subscribe, learn, and transform today.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.